All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. So today we have a very short update video on what you guys can expect to see from the channel going forward a little bit. And the thing that you cannot expect to see are the new Tenet melee weapons that are being sold by the Corpus Syndicate in the relays for Holokeys. And the reason that you cannot expect to see them anytime soon is that I am pretty simply not going to do the farm for them. That's just not a thing that's in the cards right now. I'm literally just not going to do it. And the reason for that is that I see more value in doing videos on primary and secondary weapons that were made better and how those are doing right now, and testing those in the Steel Path and putting my content more towards those things, and also more towards the upcoming free-to-play through that I think we're going to do a little bit differently and should be very interesting for more people to watch. I do not think that these weapons have a particularly large amount of value. Like, they're going to be fine melee weapons just on a raw stats basis. They're going to be at least okay. The sword and shield is probably the best one. But if we look at the breakdown of what it's going to take to farm these weapons, there's a 37.5% drop chance only in the Veil that you're going to get 6 Holokeys in a mission. Mission times for those missions are about 4 to 10 minutes, depending on your squad. The drops needed per weapon is 7, because you need 40 Holokeys. Expected missions to get 1 drop are 5 to 10 missions. The expected time variance to acquire 1 weapon is between 3 and 12 hours per weapon. This is not accounting or waiting for the correct elemental bonuses, as what you are going to be offered is going to be random in the shop in terms of what element it is and what percentage it's at, and so on and so forth, just like you would get from like generating a new lich. And that rotates every 4 days. So even if I were to plan to do a video on one of these weapons, who knows how long I would have to wait in order to get the correct element at least on that given weapon. Now with that, I would like to talk about some potential fixes to just Void Storms in general, because I think DE made Void Storms worse with the Sisters of Parvos update, and that is a disappointment with the Sisters of Parvos that is only lesser than the state of Yareli at current. This did not need to be this way. Plain and simple, it just did not need to be this way, and it was so easy to make this better. All that needed to happen was, instead of removing void traces, which by the way had duplicate protection on them, so if you had max void traces you couldn't roll them, which made the drop tables of those missions much better because you removed a large chance to get the void traces and instead got other things from the drop table, which made it easier to farm Sevagoth if you were going for him, and then also get more relevant rewards to you instead. I would love to see that system that is now gone in place for at least Sevagoth parts, because Sevagoth makes up 30% of the Veil's drop table. And after you have 2 copies of Sevagoth, because of course you feed 1 to the Helminth, that is a 30% useless drop table entirely, with something that we would demonstrably be expected to be running long term. So ideally, they would do the same thing with Void Traces, where we have a max in our inventory, considering the max for Sevagoth blueprints to be 1 apiece, and then you would not be able to get more until you either used or sold those Sevagoth pieces. That would mean that about 30% of the drop table would be freed up for you to get actually useful things, which would make these a lot better. But outside of that, because that's not really the point of this, but of course that duplicate protection for frame parts is something that we've wanted for a very long time. Let's talk about what would happen if, very simply, you got 1 Holokey per mission. Just per Void Storm that you did, you got 1 Holokey. That changes the math on this quite significantly to make it so that you cap out at about, you know, like 7-8 hours or so if you're going very slowly through these Void Storms. And at minimum, you're looking at about a consistent 3 hours to get all the Holokeys you need for 1 weapon. And there are 4 weapons, but of course you might want the max percentage on them. So minimum to get a copy of each of the 4 weapons is going to be at about 12 hours then, which you'll note is the max for 1 weapon as of right now. And it's not actually the max, but it's the theoretical maximum. Now, the main reason that it's different is because it is consistent and it's based on your performance if you're getting 1 Holokey per mission. If you can do those missions fast, if you can optimize those missions and get your time down, you can get your weapons faster and much more consistently. Will the people who have invested in their railjack and want to go fast and want to get these weapons will be able to consistently farm them and go for them because they have attained the necessary skills and equipment to go at the, like, consistent 4-minute pace or so. That would be considerably better. And is 3 hours still a long farm for a thing? Sure. But if they fixed Void Storms to have relevant, consistent rewards by implementing duplicate protection on Sevagoth and reinstating Void Traces and having duplicate protection on those, you'd be left with the rest of the drop table, which is a nice chunk of Endo and some Radiant Relics, which are good rewards by themselves. So right now, Void Storms are an absolute mess, and they were made worse with the Sisters of Parvos update, and I have no desire to farm them, is the basic breakdown here. I have no desire to do that. I think that there are many other things that I should focus on instead. Let me know in the comments if you agree, but I just wanted to talk about why you guys aren't seeing the Tenet melee weapon videos. The reason is because I don't see the value in farming them as opposed to doing other things. If they change it, obviously, especially if they change it to exactly what I just said, then of course I'm just going to go do the farm, because of course I would just go do it then. But if they change it and make it a lot better, then I would be much more inclined to go and get them, and then those videos would probably happen. But as it stands right now, it's just not worth doing. Much like the farm for the new rifle that is in the survivals, that are the Ambassador, that's its name. The Ambassador in the survivals in Railjack, it's just absolutely not worth farming. The weapon is bad, and it has hilariously low drop rates. Don't go farm that. If you need that weapon, don't go farm it. Just don't go farm it. You don't need that weapon, is like the plain and simple answer. The answer is that you should ignore it and probably do something more relevant. Unless you absolutely must have it. And I don't know why you absolutely must have it. But yeah, anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I just wanted to elaborate upon why you're not seeing those videos. I will see you next time. Goodbye!